Hey, did you know that today is Flag Day? Yeah, I kind of didn't either. Oh well. All right, the history of the flag goes back to the American Revolutionary War. In the beginning of the war, the colonists didn't have a united single flag. They instead had flags of each of the colonies. This, of course, was confusing, but also think about it. It also could cause them a problem for morale. In June of 1775, the Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia to create the Continental Army, a unified colonial fighting force with the hopes of a more organized battle against its colonial oppressors. This led to the creation of what was essentially the first American flag in the continental colors. The original flag, with its 13 red and white stripes, also had a Union Jack in the corner. However, Washington soon realized that it looked too much like the British flag, so it was changed to a flag with 13 stripes and 13 stars representing the 13 colonies. The stars were a representation of what was called a new constellation of stars, and over 100 years later, in 1916, President Woodrow Wilson marked the anniversary of that decree by officially establishing June 14th as Flag Day, and that's today. There are many rumors about who actually sewed the first flag. Some say it was Betsy Ross who sewed it, but there's no real historical evidence. I don't know. I saw all these history books when I was a kid. You saw pictures of Betsy Ross doing it, but maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it has been confirmed, however, that Francis Hopkinson, a delegate from New Jersey, who also designed the Continental money used at the time, and also was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, was the actual designer of the American flag. Of course, there are many flag codes that range from how a flag should be hung to basically respect for the flag. And of course, there are standard dimensions for the flag as well. It's pretty obvious that most Americans have no regard for these rules of flag code, and mostly, I gotta tell you, it's out of ignorance, not disrespect. The ones who, of course, who disrespect the flag at a protest by burning it or throwing it to the ground are actually criminals according to the law. Unfortunately, treasonous acts like this are no longer punished, and the anti-American criminals are just left to destroy this great symbol at will. By the way, speaking of disrespect for the flag today, unbelievable. On Flag Day, today, if you travel to Washington, D.C., you will actually see flags hanging that will have 51 stars instead of 50 stars. Yes, the mayor of D.C. is protesting the fact that D.C. is not recognized as a state and had flags created with her taxpayer dollars that were made with an extra star. The extent of disrespect of liberals never ceases to amaze me. Oh, and just remember that the proper Pledge of Allegiance on the flag will always include the words, "One nation under God." Of course, now that schools don't say the pledge anymore, most children don't even know it exists anyway. Listen, today, when you pass a flag, take a moment to think of the people who sacrificed to give us the freedoms that we still have today. With all our problems, this is still the only country I'd want to live in.